Energetic white rhino born at wildlife park. A symbol of hope for an endangered species. In a world where the news about wildlife so often carries tones of despair, declining populations, shrinking habitats, and illegal poaching, there comes a story that sparks joy, wonder, and cautious optimism. Deep in the rolling fields of a British wildlife park, a baby white rhinoceros has been born, healthy, strong, and bursting with energy. For conservationists and animal lovers alike, this birth represents not just the arrival of a new life, but a tangible step forward in the global effort to protect one of Earth's most majestic yet endangered creatures. A miracle in the early morning. The calf made its grand entrance into the world in the early hours of a chilly October morning at the Cotswold Wildlife Park and Gardens, a sanctuary known for its dedication to endangered species. Keepers who had been monitoring the pregnant female for weeks were delighted when they arrived to find the baby already standing, wobbling but determined, next to its protective mother. "It was one of those moments that takes your breath away," said senior rhino keeper, Mark Jenkins, his voice filled with pride. "We had cameras on her all night, and when we saw the calf finally on its feet, full of life, trying to nurse, it was incredible. You could feel the excitement across the entire team." The mother, a 10-year-old white rhino named Nancy, delivered the calf after a 16-month pregnancy, a typical gestation period for rhinos, which is among the longest in the animal kingdom. The calf, whose gender has yet to be confirmed, weighed approximately 60 kilograms at birth. Within an hour, it was on its feet, exploring its surroundings and showing early signs of what keepers call boundless curiosity. First steps, first bonds. Keepers describe the baby as energetic, bold, and a little mischievous. Within just a few days, the newborn was seen running small laps around its enclosure, often prompting amused chuckles from visitors and staff alike. "Even when it's tired, it just wants to keep moving," Jenkins said with a grin. "We call it our little tank on legs. It's got that playful energy you see in young animals that don't yet realize their size or strength." Nancy, the mother, has proven to be gentle yet protective. She keeps a close watch on her calf, often positioning herself between the baby and any approaching humans. However, she allows the youngster to explore the area freely, occasionally nudging it back toward her side with a motherly snort when it ventures too far. "Seeing that bond form between mother and calf is one of the most beautiful things in nature," said Dr. Emily Cartwright, the park's resident zoologist. "It's instinctive, primal, and incredibly moving. We always try to give them space to bond naturally, and Nancy has been a model mother." The white rhino, a species on the brink. The white rhinoceros, or Ceratotherium simum, is one of 5 remaining rhino species on Earth, and while its name might suggest a pale color, it's actually gray. The name, white, comes from a misunderstanding of the Afrikaans word, wide, meaning wide, which refers to the animal's broad mouth, a perfect adaptation for grazing on grasslands. White rhinos are divided into 2 subspecies: the southern white rhino, which has made a remarkable recovery thanks to conservation efforts, and the northern white rhino, which teeters on the edge of extinction. Only 2 northern white rhinos remain alive, both females, living under armed guard in Kenya's Olpejeta Conservancy. The newborn calf at Cotswold belongs to the southern subspecies, one that has seen hopeful resurgence but still faces grave threats. Poaching for horns, habitat destruction, and political instability in parts of Africa continue to endanger their survival. Every successful birth in captivity thus carries immense weight. "This isn't just a cute baby animal story, Drive," Cartwright explained. "Each rhino born in captivity contributes to a global breeding network designed to preserve the species' genetic diversity. Every single calf counts. A story of careful planning and dedication. The birth didn't happen by accident. It's the result of years of meticulous planning, genetic matching, and specialized animal care." The park participates in the European Endangered Species Program, EEP, which coordinates breeding among zoos to ensure healthy, diverse populations. Nancy was paired with the park's resident male, Monty, after genetic testing confirmed a strong match. Keepers closely monitored the pair's behavior, introducing them gradually over several weeks to avoid stress or aggression. Rhinos are powerful animals, said Jenkins. They may look calm, but introductions can be tricky. Luckily, Nancy and Monty hit it off almost immediately. Within days, they were inseparable. We knew we had a good match. Once Nancy became pregnant, her care routine changed. The park's veterinary team designed a diet rich in essential nutrients, and keepers provided extra space and enrichment to keep her physically and mentally stimulated. For over a year, anticipation grew among staff, and as her due date approached, the team worked in shifts around the clock. When the birth finally happened, it was emotional for everyone, Jenkins recalled. We've watched this little life develop from ultrasound scans to the moment it took its first breath. Visitors fall in love. Since the park announced the birth on social media, thousands of visitors have flocked to catch a glimpse of the newborn. The baby, now a few weeks old, is already a star attraction. Photos and videos showing its tiny horn bump and awkward gallops have gone viral, spreading joy far beyond the park's gates. Families describe the experience as unforgettable. Children press their faces to the glass of the viewing area, pointing excitedly whenever the calf trots by. The park has introduced special educational talks, where keepers explain the importance of rhino conservation and the challenges these animals face in the wild. Seeing the calf in person really drives home the idea that we need to protect these animals, said Sarah Clark, a visitor from London. It's one thing to read about extinction online, but when you see a living, breathing rhino baby, it hits differently. It's a reminder that there's still hope. The symbolism of birth amid crisis. Conservationists often refer to the birth of a rhino as a victory against extinction, a small but powerful sign that, with effort and cooperation, humanity can still repair some of the damage it has done. In conservation, victories are rare and fragile, said Professor Alan Reeves, a wildlife biologist who has studied rhinos for over 20 years. Every calf represents years of global teamwork. Scientists, zookeepers, donors, governments, and communities all working toward the same goal. It's a story of what we can achieve when we care enough. This sentiment resonates deeply, especially at a time when climate change and biodiversity loss dominate headlines. The newborn rhino has become, in a sense, an ambassador for hope, a living reminder that species recovery is still possible when people unite behind a cause. Behind the scenes, raising a rhino. Raising a rhino calf is no small feat. The first few weeks are critical. Keepers must ensure the calf nurses regularly and gains weight. They also monitor for any signs of illness, which can be life-threatening in young rhinos. While the park's staff avoid unnecessary human contact to keep the animal's behavior natural, they use remote cameras and careful observation to track its progress. Rhinos are surprisingly sensitive, said Dr. Cartwright. Stress can impact their immune systems, so we maintain a calm, consistent environment. We don't interfere unless absolutely necessary. The calf will stay with its mother for up to 3 years, learning social cues, feeding habits, and the protective instincts vital for survival. Eventually, as it matures, it may join a breeding program elsewhere in Europe, contributing to the broader effort to secure the future of the species. Technology meets conservation. Modern technology plays a growing role in rhino conservation. At Cotswold Wildlife Park, keepers use microchips and data tracking to record behavioral changes, growth rates, and dietary patterns. Across the world, conservationists use satellite collars and drones to monitor rhino herds, detect poachers, and map migration routes. The data we collect from captive populations helps us understand the needs of wild rhinos, said Professor Reeves. For example, by studying diet preferences or stress levels in a controlled setting, we can make better management decisions for rhinos in the wild. The ultimate goal, he added, is to create conditions where rhinos can thrive naturally again, without the need for fences or armed guards. The emotional impact on staff. Behind every conservation success story lies a team of humans whose emotional connection to the animals runs deep. Many zookeepers describe their work as a calling rather than a job, and the birth of a calf like this one brings both joy and tears. Some of us have worked here for over a decade, waiting for this moment, said Jenkins. When I saw the baby take its first steps, I just stood there in silence. It's hard to describe. It's like watching the future unfold right in front of you. Staff members often rotate night shifts, sleeping in nearby lodges to stay close to the animals. The team has become like family, united by the shared dedication to wildlife protection. There are long nights, cold mornings, and moments of heartbreak when things go wrong, Jenkins continued. But this makes it all worth it. Education and inspiration. The park hopes that the newborn rhino will inspire the next generation of conservationists. Alongside viewing sessions, the staff has launched educational programs for schools, teaching children about the importance of biodiversity and the fight against poaching. Interactive displays allow visitors to compare the size of a rhino horn to everyday objects and understand the devastating impact of illegal wildlife trade. The park also works with charities in Africa, donating part of its ticket proceeds to anti-poaching patrols and local conservation education. When children connect emotionally with an animal, they're more likely to protect it as adults, said Dr. Cartwright. That's why moments like this matter. They plant seeds of empathy. A new chapter in the park's legacy. The Cotswold Wildlife Park has a proud history of conservation success. Its rhino breeding program, launched over a decade ago, has produced several calves that now live in parks across Europe. Each birth strengthens genetic lines and spreads awareness about rhino conservation. We don't just see this as one birth, said the park's director, Ruben Sinclair. We see it as part of a much larger story, one that involves protecting habitats, supporting rangers, and educating the public. Every rhino born here carries that mission forward. Sinclair added that plans are already underway to expand the rhino enclosure, giving the growing herd more space and improving visitor access without disturbing the animals. Looking to the future. As the sun sets over the park, the young calf can often be seen nestled close to its mother, the two forming a serene silhouette against the golden sky. For the keepers, it's a moment of peace after months of anxious waiting. For visitors, it's a moment of awe. For conservationists, it's a reason to keep fighting. Rhinos have been on this planet for millions of years, Professor Reeves reflected. They've survived ice ages and predators. What they need now is for humans to stop being the greatest threat, and start being the greatest allies. The energetic little calf, unaware of the symbolic weight it carries, continues to run and play, kicking up dust and joy wherever it goes. Its heartbeat, strong and steady, echoes the rhythm of hope, a reminder that life, against all odds, finds a way.